Hi, okay, welcome to session 30. We have our recap as normal, so hit pause and press play when you're ready. Okay, so here are our answers. Oops, jumping around, there we go. All right, hit pause, do your marking and press play when you're ready. Okay, so I think the main thing that I wanted to mention on this one was the bidmas that I threw in. Now, if you spotted that, great. If you didn't, don't worry, because obviously I have thrown something at you that you haven't seen possibly in a while. We did it in grade 2, and I just think it would be remiss of me to not be bringing things back that you may not have seen for a little while. So we've been practicing multiplying our decimals. Let's just make sure we don't fluff it up when there's an extra operation in the question. That's what we're kind of doing there. Okay, so just in case it's been a while, a quick reminder, I've got an add and a times. There's my multiply, there's my add. Now, with maths, we do things in the order of bidmas. We don't just read across like we would a book. We have to do it in a certain order. So you can see multiply comes first, and then you do that adding of the 0.3 second. Okay, so hopefully that went well. And we're going to get straight into our stem and leaf now. So a stem and leaf is a way to represent data so that you can still see it. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate how we put data into the stem and leaf. The best approach to avoid errors, and then you're obviously going to have a go. Okay, so a stem and leaf is a bit like a tens and units diagram. So I'm going to create a grid, and down this side, I'm going to put my tens. Now, when I look at the data, I can see that I've got 15. I think that's my smallest. And my biggest looks like it's in the 40s. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 down here. And that's representing tens. So it's representing 10, 20, 30, 40. And then the leaves are my units. So 32 is the first number in my list. So I'm going to put a 2 next to the 3. I'm also going to cross that out so that I know it's in my diagram. I haven't forgotten it. I haven't missed it. And I'm going to get all the marks for putting all the information in. It's really easy to miss one off. So this is a foolproof way of making sure that doesn't happen. So 29 is next. So I've got to put a 9 there. Then I've got my 18, 41, 22, 31, 44. And I just keep going until I've got them all in. And 35 and 21. There we go. Now, if I did that, I would have 1 mark. This is a 3-mark question, so there's definitely more to do. The reason that I haven't got more at the moment is because it's out of order. Now, I always do them out of order first. I see some people just want to take shortcuts all the time, and shortcuts really, really lead to errors. So they try and put them in order as they go. Then they miss numbers out. Miss just 1 number and you've lost a mark. So doing that gets all the numbers and it's easy to read. The next step is to just redraw it. So I've got my 1, 2, 3, 4, but this time putting it in order. So 865 is going to become 568. And then I've got 1, 2, 7, 9, 9. Then I've got 0, 1, 2, 5, 7. And then I've got 1, 3, 4. Okay, hopefully I've done that right. Very easy to muddle yourself with this. So if I've produced this, I've now got 2 marks instead of 1, because I've got all the data in and I've got it in order. But I'm still missing a mark because this is a 3-mark question. The last mark comes from putting a key together. So up here, I do the key. And what I do is I just focus in on this part of my diagram and I draw that. So I've got a 1, I've got that part of the line, and I've got a 5. And that number is 15. So then that tells the reader what the numbers were originally, because if I just had a stem and leaf already drawn for me, so if I didn't have that there, I would only know that the 1 and the 5 was worth 15 if someone told me, because I could do a completely different key altogether. I could say, okay, my key is 1-5 and that equals 1.5. Now just changed all the numbers into decimal numbers because the key is telling me that this here means 1.5, which means this is 2.1 and this is 2.2 and so on. So the key does play a critical role, and it's very important we remember to do it. Now, obviously, for the question that we've just done, let's just get rid of that and put that back. It's not decimal numbers, they're 32 and 29. So the key that we wrote the first time is correct for that particular diagram. And that is stem and leaf. And it's a 3-mark question. And it's just a case of taking your time and getting everything in accurately. So I want you to have a go. Let's pull that down a little bit and we'll clean the top off. I'd like you to just pause and have a go. I'm going to talk all the way through it the way I just did that one, but have a go and then hit play and just check that your answer is correct. Okay, so let's have a little look. I can see that the lowest number there is 2, which is no 10s whatsoever. So I'm going to need a 0 there. And that can be a sticky point for some students as well. It's like, well, what do you do when there's no 10s? So we just put the 0 in. I can see a 1, a 2. Have I got anything in the 30s? Yes. So I'll put the 3. And there's something in the 40s, so I can put a 4 in. So I've got 27, 9, 3, 41. Let's just extend that. 6, 37, 4, 18, 33. Okay, so I'm on my way. Now I've got to put them in order. So I've got 0. Just going to move that across so it doesn't all blur into one diagram. Okay, taking my time. I've got 2, 4, 6, 7, and 9. Got 1, 2 zeros, 2 2s, 4, 7, 8. I've got 0, 3, 7, 3 and 7, and 1. And hopefully you remembered your key. I always, like I say, home into that first section of the diagram. You can put anything in, you know, I could have chosen the last section and put 4-1 or 3-3, anything at all. But I just have that as my routine, as my habit, and that is equal to 2. So if you got that right, well done. We're going to do one more. So there it is. Again, I want you to pause, have a go. I know it's slightly different, but just go with your gut and then check in a moment to see how you got on. Okay, so with this question, it just means we've got more in our stem. To do 110, I'm going to do 11 and 0. Okay, so that's 11 and 0, which means that will be 12, 13, 14, and I can see 154. So I'm going to need that as well. So my 110 is already in. 2, 138, 142, 22, 5, 130, 38, I've got 2 there. Okay, so that's all the numbers in. Put them in order. I've got 0, 2, 5, 6, 2, 8, 8, 0, 6, 8, 1, 2, 2, and 4. And then in goes the key. And we've got 4 marks. So that's drawing a stem and leaf, which could be your question, or they might have it drawn already for you. If they've got it drawn already for you, then it's going to be an interpreting question. So they're going to be asking you questions about the diagram. And these questions come in the form of averages. So you need to know your mode and your median and your range and not get in a muddle. So the hey diddle diddle rhyme that we spoke about in grade 2 is a fantastic way to remember them. So if you didn't start at grade 2, you're starting here at grade 3, and you do get in a muddle with your language when it comes to averages, then go and YouTube hey diddle diddle and then put in median or mode. That'll be enough for it to pull up this great, great rhyme. Learn that and you will never get in a muddle again. Okay, so let's look at how we do this. So if I need to find the mode, I'm looking for the number that's most common. So I'm going to be looking at these leaves, okay, and I can see that this 2 comes up twice. If I keep going, is there anything else that comes up twice? Actually, there's something here that comes up 3 times. So that trumps the 2s. So I've got that coming up 3 times. Keep going. That comes up twice, but that's not as many as 3 times, so I can ignore it. So this here is where my mode is. But the answer isn't 3. You have to remember that these 3s are attached to its stem over here. So this is 43. 43 and 43. 43 comes up 3 times, which is more than any other number. So my mode is equal to 43. Okay, I'm going to do range next. Range is biggest take smallest. Usually you get 2 marks for this. So it's really important you show the maths that you have to do and don't just jump straight into it. So we've got to do the biggest, which is 65. Yeah, it's the very last number. Take away the smallest, which is the very first number. So take away 21. And 65 take away 21 is 44. Okay, so that's my range. And then my median is my middle number. And we find the median, usually when it's in a list, we kind of go boom, 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 until we get into the middle, don't we? We're still going to do that, except it's not in a nice, neat line. So we've got to just be really, really careful that we knock one off at the beginning, one off at the end. So let's watch this in process. So 21 is the smallest, 65 is the biggest. So it's like boom, boom. They're the end 2. Now we come in and we do the next end 2. So 22 and 62, then 22 and 58, 23 and 54. So I'm going forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards. There's another forward with another backward, another forward with another backward. And that gives me 43 as my median. That's the one in the middle. One of the things that you can do to check this, to make sure you haven't made a mistake, because it's, like I say, it can be quite confusing. You think, well, what was the, did I just do a front or a back? Which, you know, and you can get yourself in a muddle, is to just count. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 knocked off at the beginning. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 knocked off. The same number either side means I've done it perfectly. Okay. All right, your turn. So there's your question. I want you to find the mode, range, and median and hit play when you are ready. Okay, so the mode. I've got 2 7s here at the beginning. Let's get my lights. There we go. So it could be 7 coming up twice. But if I keep looking along, I can see here 3 numbers in a row means 23 has come up 3 times. So 23. Range is my biggest, which is 32. Take away my smallest, which is 7. And 32 take away 7 is 25. And then the median is where I'm going to do my crossing off. So smallest, biggest. Next, going backwards, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. Now, if I cross off again, forward, back, I've got nothing left. So I'm going to undo that. I have got 18 and then 22, and I need to be slap bang in the middle of those. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. This really is the best way to find the middle. And I'll just cross off again, and there it is, slap bang in the middle. So my median is equal to 20. If you got that right, really well done. If you weren't too sure what to do and you put both 18 and 22 down, then hopefully you can see that you can't have more than one answer, and it's still about that middle. It's still about right between the two. All right, there is your next one to have a go at. Hit play when you're ready. Okay, so mode, let's have a little look. Got nothing along there. I've got 2 4s and nothing else. So 34 is not the right answer. So if you put 34 down, you were doing the right thing, but what you didn't do was check in with the key. The key is telling me these numbers are decimals. So actually, my answer is 3.4. So there's an example of how important that key is and that we pay attention to it. And if you did spot that and you wrote your 3.4, perfect, really, really well done. Okay, so my range is going to be 5.8, take away 2.2. And that's going to be 3.6. Remember to show this. Absolutely, it's 1 mark. You'll lose it if you don't write it down. And now my median. So let's see what we've got with this one. Smallest, biggest, smallest, biggest, small, big. And forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. 3.4. So 3.4 is my median. Okay, and that's pretty much stem and leaf in a nutshell until I show you this. Now, this is quite rare. We don't often see this. However, that doesn't mean we're not going to see it. This is called a back-to-back stem and leaf. So instead of having one diagram for the girls and a separate one for the boys, they share the same stem, and the girls' data goes off in one direction and the boys' data goes off in the other. And then you could get asked something that doesn't seem to be very clear. So the number of text messages sent by 12 girls and 15 boys were recorded and represented in the back-to-back stem and leaf diagram. And then it just says, compare the results. Now, this is where a lot of people panic. They're not really sure what they're supposed to be doing. And this is a really good example of my mantra of what to do when you're stuck, which is, what am I looking at? What do I know? And how can I use it? So the what am I looking at is, well, I'm looking at a stem and leaf diagram. What do I know? I know that when I've been given a stem and leaf diagram, I can get averages from them. I might not know that's what they want because it's not clear, but that is what I know about stem and leaf. And if I'm stuck, then I should be doing something with what I know. So what I want you to do is I want you to pause. I want you to think about that. What do I know? and how can I use it? And I want you to just do whatever you think might get you some marks. You might not answer this properly, you've never seen it before, but you do know something about stem and leaves. So use it and then come back to me and we'll see how you got on, okay? So as I encouraged you to do what you know, you may have found a mode. So the boys mode is 72, just come that down, and the girls mode is 64. And we could make a comparison. We could say that the boys mode is higher than the girls mode. And that would be comparing the results, exactly what they asked us to do. However, the bad news is in an exam situation, they don't really rate the mode as a good average for comparing. So they would prefer to see you commenting on the range and the median. So if you've seen enough now to think, oh, I know what to do, then hit pause and just have another go at it. You don't have to just watch me do it. We're not going to see another one of these. So it would be a chance to really have a good go. Otherwise, keep going with me. So the range for the girls is 84, take away 51. And that is going to give us 33. And the range for the boys. Now we have to be a bit careful. You've got to be reading this backwards. So I've got 80, 85, 86. Don't just go with the one closest. So we've got 86, take away 55, which is 31. And then I just get to work on finding my medians. I'm doing the girls first because that is in the kind of normal setup for a stem and leaf. So I'm in a comfort zone, which is why I'm going to do that one first. So the first, there we go, next one in. So I'm between 63 and 64, which is 63.5. So when I do the boys, I do have to, again, be really, really careful. I can get myself in a muddle very quickly. So I've got to think that I'm going back to front on this side. So there's the first and the next one. And I'm over here, look, because 78 is the next one. And you can see the answer is 72 for the median. So that's getting me all the data into some averages that I can then compare. So that's the maths that I would then talk about, okay? So I might say the following statement. I'll see if I can squeeze it in the space that I've got. So the boys' range is smaller than the girls' median is higher. Suggesting, actually, let me just scroll up. I don't need to squash, do I? Suggesting the boys send more texts. So I've shown you this because I want you to be aware that stem and leaf can progress slightly from the basic. It's not the most common thing that we see, but it's not an impossibility because it's a part of our statistics topic. We just need to be mindful that they're sharing the same stem and that the boys kind of goes a bit back to front when you're having to read and interpret from it. Comparing results isn't really grade 3. It's more of a higher level. Like I say, I don't like to cap you and say, oh, I can't show you that because it's not grade 3. Actually, it's part of the topic we're learning. So it's really important to see. Not sure whether it will come up again during the course, but I hope that that's been useful, just being made aware of how that might work. Okay, so you're going to do some practice questions now. Those are the questions, just the 3 of them. I want you to put them into the simulator and then find the mode, median, range of each one of those for me, please. And then I'll scroll the answers up and see you next session.